All right, guys. I know it's been a minute since I done showed my face and stuff, but I want to broach a conversational piece that I've been thinking about a lot recently because um, this is low key in reference to Nikhil Alexander Walker. Because if you follow my channel since like the conception, you'll know I was high on Nikhil Alexander Walker, and I know he has not played good this season. He's been terrible, but it's Nikhil and other players like him. But I'm gonna use Zoe as kind of like the topic or basic basis of this, right? So I have this thing about young players in the league where I don't want to judge a player until they're like 25, 26. And I say that because the NBA is, like they say, grown man's league, and it takes time and experience before you understand what's required of you to be successful or to be great. And so, we take Victor Oladipo. He spent several years in the league. The Magic gave up on him, shipped him to OKC. Spent like a year or two in OKC with Russ. Ended up going to the Pacers and broke out as a Pacer. Now, obviously, injuries derailed a lot of that for him, but we get the whole flow of things. One man's trash is another man's treasure, right? But as this pertains to Vic, Vic was taken high in the draft, and he fizzled out in Orlando. He went to OKC, and he was decent, but he never showed that thing that made him, the top pick that he is or was, right? He gets to the Pacers, and all of a sudden, it clicks for him. That isn't by accident. And I say this because Vic was like 26, 27 when he eventually got to the Pacers, right? Chauncey Billups is another one. He was kind of like a guy that would bounce from team to team. And then he got to the Detroit Pistons, and them Pistons boys, they went off and did their thing and won a championship, and they were competing for years. So, young players, sometimes it's not always just about the talent level because they're supremely talented. Sometimes you need the right situation. And so, and I want to make this clear, this is not a video about Nikhil. I'm just saying this is where the thought process kind of came from. But I'm going to switch this to Lonzo real quick. Lonzo had the Lakers 2 years, had the Pelicans 2 years, and now he's on the Bulls. His first year, his rookie year, actually wasn't bad. 10, 7, and 7. That's really fucking good. To be real with you, that's not bad numbers. And at a base minimum or bare minimum, there's a lot of players in the league that can't give you 10, 7, and 7. And so, great. Then LeBron gets there and his usage and numbers go down for the most part or stay roughly the same. And so, he's expendable. He gets to New Orleans. He works on the three ball. He gets the three. His numbers are still roughly the same. And so I even remember Jalen Rose saying that, hey, Lonzo has plateaued. He hadn't plateaued yet. The following year, he plays a 3-and-D role, and he's pretty solid defensively, and he's pretty good shooting the three ball. But he hasn't had consistency in role or position his first 4 years. Okay, so we go to Chicago. His numbers are roughly what they were last year, albeit he's in a lesser required offensive role. But here's the thing we need to consider. Lonzo has looked like the best version of himself so far in Chicago. He's 24 years old. It took him 4 years and to land on the Chicago Bulls with Billy Donovan for us to really start to see how good he really can be. Obviously, the passing gene, the passing gift is there. It was never going to go away. That's the one thing that the ball boys in particular are known for, Zoe and Melo. The shooting took a leap. I don't think anybody just knew he was going to be some massive, like 40% shooter for the year. But fair enough. He showed that he could do it. His defense took a leap this year, which he's looking like by all the advanced metrics. The advanced metrics love him defensively, especially. Like, point of attack, he's like number one in the league. Wing stopper, he's like number one. Like, the advanced metrics defensively favor Zoe. Matter of fact, they have him as first team all defense. And so it's taken a while for him to kind of, I wouldn't necessarily call this a breakout year, even though it is. But it's taken a while for him to get to a place where he can just kind of play. Okay. Now, here's the other part to this. And this is what I want to really get into. Trust. So, trust is very important. And it's kind of been something he's reiterated, him and his father. Trust is so necessary between a young player and a coach because it's how they develop a rapport. And it's how that player can go out there and be the best version of themselves because nobody wants to sit there with a looming shadow like, oh, okay, if I make a mistake, am I going to have to sit? Am I going to lose playing time? You know, as a young player, you're trying to, this is what you get into the league for. But there is politics in the league just like there's politics anywhere else. But especially in the league. So Lonzo is with Billy Donovan. And we're going through the year. And DeMar DeRozan goes out. Okay, cool. Zoe got to step up. Zoe steps up. Wait a minute. DeMar's coming back, but Zach's going out now. Okay, so what does he do? He steps up. And in that time of step up, Billy Donovan lets Zoe run the second unit. Zoe was not allowed to be like the point guard of a unit in New Orleans. And hell, even in LA, they had Rondo and LeBron. Now, Gentry allowed him to kind of do a little bit in New Orleans, but not to the extent that he's been able to do as like when somebody else has been injured in particular. He's been allowed to kind of lead the unit. And you get to see what third option Zoe was like. And that guy is averaging like 18, 6, and 6 doing that. Pretty efficiently too. And you can even tell by watching him this year, if you go back and look at the tape on Zoe the previous year on the Pelicans in the pick and roll, hell, even a year with Gentry, and you watch him progress, he is so much better this year in the pick and roll. Like, he's still got some things to work on, but he is so much better in the pick and roll this year. It is like night and day, the difference being from New Orleans last year to the Bulls this year. And like I said, they allowed him to lead the second unit. Like when DeMar when he was in the rotation when it was just him, DeMar, and Vooch. And they were going on runs with Zoe as the catalyst. And so to me, it's taken 5 years to see that from him. Coaching, front office, support system, teammates, vision. All of these things matter when we're talking about basketball players. Zoe got himself into a situation. Now, it's not perfect, but he got himself into a situation where they are okay with letting him run the offense. And I know there'll be people out there that'll say, well, he's a connector. But Lonzo can run an offense. He can run a pro-style offense. He's shown that ability. And it's taken 5 years to get to that point. And like I said, he can still be better. But he's improved every year. He'll be better next year. And my thing is this, as it relates to Nickeil Alexander-Walker. And like I said, this is not a Nickeil Alexander-Walker video. But it's not just Nickeil. This is like Kira, Nickeil, any young NBA player that has struggled. Jonathan Isaac has struggled to stay on the floor. Mo Bamba, Wendell Carter Jr. I'm talking about within the last couple years. Anyone you could think of. Hell, Ben Simmons. Sometimes you got to remember these players are young and they need time to get into a right situation and to grow and mature and evolve to take that next step. Now, sometimes you can't outrun the perception. I think about JaVale McGee. For the longest time, Shaq did. It wasn't until he got on the Warriors and he played around great players that you could see what he could do. I remember that one time when he had like 16 points, I think, within like the first half of a playoff game. And completely got the Warriors going. Won a series. But it took him to like he was damn near 30. And he went from place to place and yada, yada, yada. I get it. But culture, system, like support system, system with the coach, front office, all that other stuff. All this stuff matters. And so as much as I like talking shit about certain organizations, some players, I always got to take a step back and give some of these young guys grace. Because everybody, one thing that, God, can't remember his name right now, and it's pissing me off. The announcer for the Pelicans, black dude. This is pissing me off. I can't remember his name now. Antonio Daniels. He would always say growth is not linear. And he's 1,000% correct. It is not linear. Some players just go on a straight curve. Some people start off higher than others. Some people have to go and then slowly go up. And then they may have a high and then they'll come back down. But it's not just a straight, everybody comes into the league and they're at their best. It takes time. And I think people want to see shoot for the stars immediately. Sometimes you got to go here and then you go up. And that's okay. And you might have some ups and downs. And that's okay too. Players need time. They need to figure out what they can do at an NBA level and how they can get better, and they need to figure out how to put it all together. This is why I don't agree with this connector crap for Zoe. I don't even like the term in general. But hell, even Draymond. Draymond wasn't being used like that with Mark Jackson. Steve Kerr used him. He's the one that made Draymond what he is. He's the one that made, Steph and those guys, optimized. Okay? He's the one that brought out the best. Even the Hawks last year, they had a coach, and they didn't like him. And the team underachieved. Make a coaching change. You could argue they overachieved. But situation matters. And I think we all need to be a little patient with some of these young guys. Especially if your guy is not performing yet. Think about it like a degree. Maybe after 4 years, you complete your degree, and now you got to enter the workforce. Year 5, you start get your first taste of experience. It's usually shitty, but you start to, go through the motions and learn how to do your job or how to work professionally. Year 2, you've done it for a while. You're much improved, much better at your craft. Probably get a little bit more responsibility and pay raise. It's year 6. Year 7, and keep a frame of mind. I'm saying the first 4 years in the league is like going to get your degree. So year 7, this is like the 3rd year after the first 4. By then, you should have built up enough experience to know your job inside and out to where you can just about go anywhere in the country and do that job. That's what we call a prime. That's where we have a lot of the guys who come in at age 19 and they end up in year 7, that's age 26. That's when you start competing for championships. You start competing on the job market. And you're going to go and find, the best location for you to win those championships or to get the most out of what you got. Especially if you're looking like that. LeBron James. I'm saying all of that because if you think about Lonzo, if you think about a Nikhil, if you think about any of these other young guys, you got to develop. You got to find you. You got to find you amongst what the coaches say, your people, agents, all kinds of stuff. Hell, you might have a chick you done knocked up and got pregnant, so now you dealing with baby mama issues. By the way, apparently LaMelo deleted his IG. Hopefully it ain't because he knocked that chick up, because child support ain't gonna be nice to him. But this is where we're at least in my eyes. Let's not judge these young players too harshly too soon. Yeah, some players you can kind of tell. But give a guy or give a player or person their time to figure it out. Okay, they may not figure it all out in one location. They may have to go places like did. But growth ain't linear. And we should save our judgment until we really see what they can do. Y'all have a good one. Peace.